Should you pull for Kelger? His roles are a mixed attacker, evasion tank, and freeze. His skill 1, Impact Cut, deals 8 HP attacks, granting the buff Will of the Last Dawn for 6 turns, which also gives him his follow-up. First Strike, his follow-up, will trigger at the start of an enemy's turn, dealing 4 HP attacks by the value of Kelger's current Brave. Lastly, this attack will not consume any Brave. Tri-Element, his skill 2, deals 4 split HP attacks, increasing Brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt, and also granting Will of the Last Dawn for 6 turns. His EX ability, Wolf's Gate, deals 6 split HP attacks, increasing Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt, and granting Swift Wolf for 6 turns. Requiem Slash, his LD, deals 5 AoE HP attacks, giving 1 free ability use, and granting the buff Werewolf Pride for 12 turns. This allows for his evasion counter. Shadow Wolf, Kelger's counterattack, will trigger whenever he evades an attack, dealing 3 HP attacks with all 50% splash, and increasing Brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt. Sweeping Boulder Crush, his FR effect, lowers his turn rate by 50% and gives the party an HP cap up of 20%. Lastly, Lupine Attack, his BT, is a 6-turn effect that gives both a party HP cap up of 30% as well as a second first strike for Kelger. Kelger's buffs and debuffs. The one of note is Swift Wolf, granting Kelger a 100% evasion up and a lock to all enemies. His force conditions, you're getting a 5% increase whenever anyone uses a melee ability, including off-turn damage, and you get a 50% whenever Kelger evades an attack. Lastly, you're getting another 5% whenever Kelger uses a melee ability, including off-turn damage. Kelger's pros. This guy has some of the strongest counterattacks in the entire game, and he is one of the few that actually attack both at the start and end of an enemy turn. Because a lot of his skills have Brave support directly built into them, they are surprisingly self-sufficient. In regards to his tanking, similar to units like Rubicante or Layla, his enemy lock is based on a buff, not a debuff, which in my opinion, buffs are easier to upkeep than debuffs. When we're talking about his BT, you might be a bit taken aback that it only lasts 6 turns. However, we also have to factor in Kelger's speed, or lack thereof in this case. Him slowing himself down tremendously will make it last much longer. He is also pretty reliable for longer battles because both his evasion and lock are not given by his BT, and 2 out of the 3 counterattacks are still available. For a fun team idea, try using Kelger with Reno. I can't even imagine the fun that would come out of that. Kelger's cons. He has evasion for himself, but not for his allies, meaning he is made to be a single target tank, not for AoE. Most of the time he'll be fine, but during heavy AoE attacks that come from enemy force attacks, HP thresholds, or gauge recasts, Kelger can't help you there. When you're looking at his FR, it's good in the right hands. However, one part of it that, in my opinion, is a bit restricting is the melee off turn. You have plenty of options still to fulfill that condition. For example, you have Core, you have Sice, hopefully she gets a rework soon. But be wary that if the off-turn damage is not melee, it's not going to match with Kelger's FR. Lastly, haha, pun intended, there is no last stand to be seen in Kelger's kit, unless there is and I just can't read. Wouldn't be the first time. But from what I've researched on him, he doesn't even have it for himself. Of course, you can still compensate that for Crystal Room buffs. However, even then, it isn't anywhere near as consistent as just having Last Stand. Is Kelger's BT necessary? Without it, he still has 2 out of his 3 counters, but you'll be missing out on an extra 4 HP attacks at the start of the enemy turn, as well as the auras his burst gives. My should you pull rating for Kelger is a solid S+. Even in JP today, he is still used for solos. That alone should give you an idea of how good he is and how long his value lasts. Sleep on him at your peril. Thank you guys so much for watching with me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!